Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special E3 JoyClicks Predictions Special. I'm your host today, Christian Buckley, joined once again, returning to JoyClicks, we have Charlie Wackles. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm very excited for E3 to be back because that means the hype is back.
Absolutely, because the last time we talked was for Nintendo's first Direct in a very long time. So it's only natural,
Yes.
Also joining us for this very special predictions episode is Omar Nakri. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Happy to be here. Likewise, I think the Nintendo Directs are blessings, and I can't believe we're getting another one. Feels great.
I guess going into E3 this year, we didn't have any E3 fanfare last year. We had a couple Twitter drops, but that's not exciting. So we do have a recent Direct to sort of paint expectations, but Charlie, a week out, where are you at right now? 1 to 10, where are you falling?
It's hard. It's hard because we've heard from pretty much every single person in the games industry on the development side, and I guess on the media side too, that COVID has absolutely brought development to a standstill on a lot of stuff. So like I said, the E3 is back, so the hype is back, but I'm also trying my hardest to temper my expectations. We've heard a lot of rumors and leaks and, I guess, other off-the-wall predictions from people who are good at predicting stuff about a lot of things that are really exciting. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Nintendo is absolutely the conference that I'm looking forward to the most, though.
Sure, yeah. I found myself in a similar scenario, and just resetting the clock every day, waiting for some Switch news, waiting for that Switch Pro. Hopefully, we get some sort of semblance of that, or an idea of what to expect from them by next Tuesday, because we do know officially, next Tuesday, June 15th, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern, tune in for a Nintendo Direct with roughly 40 minutes of info focused exclusively on Nintendo Switch software, mostly releasing in 2021. Followed by around 3 hours of gameplay in Nintendo Treehouse Live. Omar.
Yeah.
Where are your expectations for the Switch Pro right now? Because we hear it's before E3. It's going to production this month. It's not going to be announced before E3. Switch software only at E3. Where are you with the Switch Pro?
Man, I think I'm in a state where I was like you, refreshing the clock every day. We sent frantic PMs to each other, Christian, like every hour, I remember. One of those days. I've lost my mind at this point. I don't think we're seeing it until July. I don't think we're going to hear from it.
I think we're going to hear about it, if we do hear about it, and if all these leaks and rumors that we've heard, I feel like it's going to be around the time that it was rumored to start production.
Yeah, and what was that, the end of June?
It was like end of June, July, sometime around then.
Okay, yeah, and I know Nintendo isn't one to stick to trends, but they did do the Switch Lite around July, didn't they?
Right.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it makes sense, but also some of the people reporting on Switch Pro, their logic was very sound of the Direct is going to have some stuff that they want to really emphasize is running on Switch Pro and using DLSS and all this stuff, so...
Yeah, I mean, if you're like a third-party developer making a Switch Pro game that looks fire, you want to show it, right? Like,
yeah,
it makes sense.
I guess, do you see I personally, I doubt this, but do you guys see a world where they do that and they just don't say that the stuff is running on Switch Pro? We're just all suspicious of it? That's
a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I think, I mean, there was that whole thing that happened with, I forget who pointed this out. I think it might have been Imran Khan, but I could be wrong. But on Twitter, after the recent Dragon Quest presentation, he pointed out that they were putting... I don't know anything about Dragon Quest, but apparently there's one of them that's like only online or like somehow tied to specifically being online. And they're making an offline version, and they're putting it out, but they're not saying what platforms it's going to be on. And so I think, I saw someone, I'm pretty sure it was Imran Khan, say that there's only one company who would keep other developers from saying what platform their games are launching on.
I think Dragon Quest XII was in a similar scenario during that presentation. Somebody asked about platforms, and they did not say a word. So, you imagine...
if I
Go ahead.
I think if I remember correctly, they didn't even say platforms to the Dragon Quest 3. They just said maybe they said everywhere or something.
Okay.
Or I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, 40 minutes, right? There's only so many first-party Nintendo games they'll show off here. Third-party, I think, has been a decent chunk of their last few E3 presentations, and the well, I feel like, is probably running dry for most third parties that can run good enough to great on the standard hardware. So I was definitely all in on the Switch Pro thing. But Charlie, do you think there's any chance we still get it before E3?
We are running out of time.
Yeah.
Like I mean, even just today, looking at my calendar, I have like a super like color coded crazy calendar going on in my Google Calendar right now, and there is almost no time for them to do this. I mean, even just starting tomorrow, they they've got the Guerrilla Collective, Battlefield 6, and then after that, Summer Game Fest starts, and then E3 starts.
Yeah.
So I don't know when they're gonna fit that in.
What if? Tell me if this is too out there. All right, I'll accept it if it is. But we do know Jeff Keighley's not a stranger to debuting hardware. He got the Series X reveal. Is there a chance? Is there something here?
On the Summer Games kickoff day, Christian?
Yeah.
The third thing. I'll let you know, Christian. I'm an official Summer Game co-streamer, so I can't comment on this.
Okay, then Charlie.
Are you serious? Wait, really? They won't wait.
What? No, they just had a form you could sign in, and they'll give you a kit, and you can say that you're an official co-streamer and sponsored by Amazon Prime. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's very cool.
Congrats.
you guys should get it. No, it's free. Don't worry.
Because the only reason I ask this is because I watched Keighley's Q&A he did, right? And somebody was like, hey, why is the show in the middle of the American workday? It's at like 2 p.m. Eastern or something like that. And he's like, oh, we want to, be fair to different regions around the world. I think that's still like going to be midnight in Asia, but I don't know. I wouldn't...
2 p.m. I think it's like a 9. It's either a 9 or a 13-hour difference.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like that's a little early in the day.
Yeah.
It's 2 p.m. EST. Is that what it is?
For Keighley's show, I think so, yeah.
Okay, interesting. I will say I feel like Nintendo hardware. Well, they announced a Switch at or aren't they usually announcing hardware at 7 a.m., 9 a.m. kind of thing? Maybe that pattern doesn't mean much, but
I mean, I know at least for the Switch, I have like a vivid memory of being in my high school free period that ended at, I think it was at 9 a.m. Central when they revealed when they put the Switch reveal trailer out.
I see.
Yeah. So I don't know how much that is to go off of, but I think that sweet spot of 7 a.m. Pacific-ish is probably where I would put it.
Sure, yeah. It makes sense. I know it's a long shot, but it makes too much sense with some of the things they could be showing off this year, right? Because we'll get to it, but stuff like Pokemon Legends might show up.
I got it, actually. I just cracked this code.
Let's hear it.
Remember in the hardest months of COVID when Sony could not show us the DualSense on the PS5? You know who showed it to us? Jeff Keighley. Maybe the Switch has some crazy 4K rumble finally on the Switch Pro, and he will demonstrate it to us at his home, potentially.
I would love
and
that.
that's how they do that.
I would be here for it.
That'd be cool.
I'd absolutely love that, but I guess moving on from Switch Pro, though, do we think that maybe what they show during their Direct is limited by there not being a Switch Pro officially announced? Omar, are you trying to paint expectations of
Well, I have a theory that they won't show Bayonetta 3 until Switch Pro is announced and out there.
Okay.
So I think Bayonetta 3 probably wouldn't happen if the Switch Pro isn't there, which would break my heart, to be honest.
See, I feel that way about Pokemon Legends, and I know Pokemon usually does their own thing, and I was expecting one before E3, but again, clock's ticking, so...
Yeah,
I feel like there could be some maybe games that seem obvious to show up at E3 that might miss it if the Switch Pro isn't confirmed. Charlie, how do you feel about that?
I guess I could begin either side of this coin with knowing Nintendo, just because of their super erratic track record. But I think it's safe to assume that Nintendo is not going to alter their first-party output, at least their core first-party output for a Switch Pro. I think a lot of other people are assuming that, like Omar said, the Switch Pro, even if it's like something like Bayonetta 3, that's still third-party. But I don't see a Nintendo published and developed game being delayed because of hardware constraints, especially after the like year that the Switch has had, where it's pretty much been Animal Crossing and a couple Mario games.
Yeah, but do you think that would impact what they show next week, or no?
Maybe for third-party stuff, but yeah, I don't think it impacts any core Nintendo things. I also think that, like, I mean, if they can get Doom Eternal to run on the Switch at a somewhat solid 30 frames per second, I really don't see an E3 Direct being significantly impacted in like a major way by it. I could see developers just not wanting to, but I think that, like a lot of rumors have said, that would be either reserved for a developer-specific presentation, or that'll just be delayed, and that wasn't originally planned to be in the Direct.
All right, I think you sold me. It makes sense.
Forgive me if I'm jumping ahead, but like, imagine we do see that Breath of the Wild 2, right? And like it just is running at 4K or something crazy, whatever resolution it is, and they just act like that thing isn't running on something that's not a Switch. They can't do that, right? Like
Right.
They would have to show it the Switch version of it, I guess, right? Or
I don't know if they'd have to, if
Okay,
like,
okay, that's
specifically like the Switch Pro is coming out before that game or in time for it, because like think of any other showcase, and again, Nintendo might be different, but there's plenty of times where we've seen debuts or reveals or gameplay demos where we're like, no way that thing's not running on a PC right now, Like,
that's fair.
I think it's within reason if Nintendo would do that. I'm not gonna say yes or no, but yeah, I feel like you want to show Breath of the Wild, you want to show it the best way you can, right?
Yeah.
So, why don't we get into that, though? Zelda 35th is kicking off this fiscal year, I'd say, because we've had no word on it yet. All we know is Skyward Sword is hitting this year. We know that, I think Aonuma mentioned it was the anniversary during that Direct, I think, but
He might have.
yeah, he may. Well, he also could have not, but
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
do we? How much time of this Direct is wasted on another Skyward Sword trailer?
Probably very minimal. Maybe it'll be in like a couple minutes or something, or a minute. I feel like they could probably just put out a launch trailer next month, and then that game's out, right? I kind of don't expect to see it here.
Well, Nintendo has been doing this thing that they've kind of been doing in the post 2019 or 2017 2018 era of the Switch, where with a lot of upcoming games, especially something like Skyward Sword, where because it's a re-release and a remake or a remaster, they will put trailers and new information out on Twitter and YouTube like every couple weeks, without really any fanfare. And I think because of that, I mean, we've gotten stuff pretty recently. I mean, I'm not going to go check right now, but I think we've even gotten something as recent as a week ago.
There was one day where we were waiting for a Switch Pro news drop, and then it was a picture of Groose or something. I remember.
Yeah, and so I think, in the same way that we've seen other games kind of in the late June, early July release slot kind of show up at E3 in those sizzle reels where it's like, oh, you see a brief trailer like in their first E3 press conference. You see like a sizzle reel where it's like Rocket League and ARMS and all these other games being played by people, and then the presentation begins and then they don't really get mentioned again. And I think if it shows up, it'll be in a thing like that where it's like a Nintendo Switch has games kind of situation.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think if Skyward Sword shows up, it's either like if they have something major they've been holding on to for this game that they haven't mentioned yet.
What could that be, Christian?
Like maybe like a bonus dungeon where you play Zelda or something. Like maybe something on that level. I could see them bring up Skyward Sword. Omar, how do you think they're gonna package Zelda 35th in this Direct? Do you think it takes up like a good chunk of this? Do they even bother?
Um, mm, I don't know, man. I really don't. Because remember, I know COVID stuff affects everything, but the way that Mario presentation just kind of unceremoniously dropped, like 2 weeks before that game came out, still irks me. Maybe like, I feel like they probably don't want to talk about a Twilight Princess and Wind Waker remaster until Skyward Sword ships.
Okay.
But I don't really have any reason for that. I just feel like that's a lot of remasters they're making, and they probably don't want to confuse people with all that Zelda.
Sure.
But I kind of expect the Zelda 35th presentation to be later than this.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose.
That's probably likely. It would make sense if they don't do it, even though last year we know they wanted to do that Mario thing for E3.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still leaning on yes. I think Zelda probably is going to end up getting maybe 10 to 15 minutes of this, and then a chunk of that's Breath of the Wild, and then the other chunk is Skyward Sword, the remasters, some ports, some drops in the eShop, something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I really think they're going to go all out with just too much Zelda this year. And I think that's making me kind of doubt Breath of the Wild hitting this year, even though I want it to, but...
I agree with that. I think they could also do the thing that they've done before, where they're like, and that's all for Breath of the Wild 2 in this presentation, but stay tuned in a couple weeks for the Zelda 35th Anniversary Direct.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's equally as likely, but...
I definitely think we'll see Breath of the Wild 2 here.
For sure.
But yeah, the stuff about, like you said in that last presentation, we're not sure if you even mentioned the 35th anniversary of Zelda. That I feel like you could just not do that here too until it's really time.
Yeah, and
Because like I remember, like I believe that presentation was the same week that like Zelda came out, right? Like February something, 80 something, but it was that February, and they didn't say it, which was a little bizarre.
In terms of the Zelda releases this year, though, what are you thinking, Charlie? Do you think we do get like every 3D Zelda on this platform this year? What's up?
No, there's okay. I really hope that we do it, and I think, you know, in a lot of these kind of prediction kind of things, I end up having a bit of a confirmation bias too, or not necessarily confirmation bias, but like a bias towards things that I'm really passionate about. And Breath of the Wild is my favorite game of all time. It is also the only Zelda game I've ever beaten. Like I'm just not that big of a fan of the franchise, and so like there's a part of me that's like that's kind of telling me, unlike with Metroid, which is really bad, where I'm kind of convinced that we're not gonna get everything, especially after I feel so burned with Mario Galaxy 2. Which and 3D Land, which is really disappointing. Which was really disappointing last year. I think something similarly annoying happens, where it's going to be like a monkey's paw kind of thing. Where if we do get a collection, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask either don't show up, or Twilight Princess just came out, so you guys aren't getting that. You're going to get that in a full like $60 game later on. I really hope that we do, just because like I want a reason and an option to like go and play those games, some of them or many of them, for the first time, but I just don't expect it.
Yeah.
Charlie, could you see them like including a ROM pack of the N64 versions somewhere? And would you be happy with that? Majora's Mask, Ocarina, N64.
If it's just those and not Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me.
Okay.
I think instead of the 3D Zeldas, I have a feeling that we're going to get some 2D Zelda love, too.
Ooh.
Especially considering Skyward Sword is coming out, and Breath of the Wild's probably not coming out this year, seemingly, at least based on, like, you know, what we're seeing, what we're hearing, what Nintendo said. I have a feeling that we're going to see some kind of 2D Zelda love, whether it's a Link's Awakening style thing, or it's a wholly new one.
Yeah, I think
That'd be cool.
Again, I don't know what the right place for that would be, if they make this a half Zelda direct, or if that's further down the line, but I'm really optimistic about getting some more of that franchise on the Switch, just because Switch is a great console, and I think there's a lot of opportunity to make maybe the best versions of these games, so that'd be swell. But I think I heard this idea a long time ago, but Nintendo Switch Online getting like some sort of up-resed or whatever version of Four Swords Adventure for the subscribers, that
would be
seems
great.
so cool, and that seems like a great shadow drop too.
If we're talking Nintendo Switch Online, 2D Zelda stuff, if it's not either, I mean, obviously it's been years and years and years at this point since we've gotten the first new 2D Zelda game, especially like, I mean, even Link's Awakening wasn't really a Nintendo thing. I'm pretty sure that was Grezzo.
Right.
But I could see like the Oracle games and the Minish Cap being used as ways of tying in Nintendo Switch Online to either Game Boy or Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color for Nintendo Switch Online, as a way to kind of get the hype up for Zelda a little bit, give subscribers something, because we were getting regular updates about every year with new consoles for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. So I feel like that's kind of killing two birds with one stone for Nintendo.
Yeah, plus there were those like Nerd exists, and they created those emulators and everything for the 3D All-Stars, and like I feel like it's coming eventually, it just, maybe it was because of COVID, maybe it was just some reason or another, but yeah, it feels like a major drop of like, hey, new consoles coming, maybe we're changing how online subscriptions work, and at the forefront, it's all these Zeldas from all these different consoles. Like, Omar, I know you recently played Ocarina of Time for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about Breath of the Wild after this, but they're bringing Ocarina of Time to Switch. Ideally, how are they doing that for you?
All right. A little bit complicated thoughts. I think they should full port that 3DS one, right? Mm-hmm. But I think they should also somehow get the N64 version emulated on there as well. I want them to respect both versions. And I don't know if they would do that. I feel like they kind of can be revisionist sometimes about that. But
sure.
But I think if I had to pick one, I probably want the 3DS one, because that being locked there kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It seems like it's the definitive way to play that game. I played the N64 one. But, yeah, they gotta respect both of them in my mind, And
I mean, I think, like Charlie suggested, I think the easy way to do that is use it to push new consoles coming to Switch Online, but again, I don't know if that feels like it's time for a direct announcement or something.
They used to announce that in like a September Direct, right? That's when they put out
I think
drop.
Yeah, the SNES drop was the September 2019 Direct. It was SNES games and Tetris 99.
Okay.
Hell yeah, what a great day.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh my god, Tetris 99.
Whew, good, it's so good. Do you think, last non-Breath of the Wild Zelda question, do we get Zelda 35 speedrun game? Do we get that?
Yep.
No,
Definitely.
I don't think so.
I'm with Charlie. I think we get a different
No
one.
Zelda 99? Like, because there was that Mario 35 game, right? I'm thinking about something along the lines of that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't expect it. I think the idea of personally at least, I think the Four Swords Adventure Online thing, or like even a port of Triforce Heroes, is I think personally something that I'd be more interested in like checking out.
I agree.
Sure.
But that said, I think I just also don't think Zelda like lends itself as well as Mario does to that kind of formula, just because of kind of the nature of it. Like, getting that to work probably isn't like impossible, especially since they have a Zelda emulator running on just about every device known to man. But I just think it might be a little bit much to like implement into a game that's actually fun.
Check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
What if it's like Spelunky and they have the daily run stuff? What if they reformatted Zelda and they randomize it every day, and with our leaderboards, everyone gets their Zelda run in every day on this roguelike. What about it?
That would be awesome.
All right, cool.
You know what?
I think so too.
You know what I think would be a lot easier and require way less work from them and be way more
What,
likely?
Christian? What?
Donkey Kong 99.
Yeah,
I fully
that'd be
expect
cool.
that. Like Donkey Kong Arcade, absolutely. But
It's Donkey Kong's 40th, right? Is that what that is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
so let's talk about Breath of the Wild, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Me and Charlie seem to be on the same page of not thinking it's releasing in 2021. I sure as hell want it to, but Omar, where are you at right now with the release date for this game?
I'm firmly 2021. I know everyone online. It seems very likely it's 2022. I'm just holding on hope. Really?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Like, they don't really have a big... Well, I guess they have Pokemon, but never mind.
The remake, too.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like, Let's Go wasn't big that year. Their big thing was Smash.
Mm-hmm.
So...
I feel like, especially if that new hardware's dropping, man, I feel like it'd be so cool if Breath of the Wild 2 just
definitely.
came out.
I think... I mean, we could get into this later since we're talking about Zelda right now, but I think if we get Switch Pro this year... and we get a game to showcase it, it's got to be Mario Kart. It's just got to be. Like, I don't see a world where it's not Mario Kart 9. Like, obviously it's selling incredibly well, and there are a lot of, you know, other things that people have been saying that, like, you know, point to it not necessarily showing up, but we've heard a ton of rumors, and also the director for the series, who directed ARMS, I don't think he's been involved in, like, anything since ARMS, really, aside from, like, Mario Kart Tour, which he was, like, I think he was kind of less of a hands-on role than normal, so I could totally see Mario Kart 9 being, like, their big surprise reveal, and just coming out this holiday season with the Switch Pro.
Yeah, I mean, timing would make sense, for sure, because, yeah, everything you're saying makes sense. I just don't believe it. I don't think it's time yet. I don't know why.
Because what if it's this? What if they've been working hard on F-Zero?
Oh my god.
That would sell a Switch Pro. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
If we get a new F-Zero, it's an F-Zero 99. It's an F-Zero Battle Royale. That's the
Don't
next
say
episode.
that.
Oh,
Don't
God.
say that.
Well, it's F-Zero's 30th anniversary, isn't it? Because it launched with the Super Nintendo in '91, right?
Bro, I don't know. That'd be awesome. Because, you know, to be fair, there was, like, a pretty significant Metroid anniversary one year that Nintendo just completely ignored, right? Or something.
25th.
Yeah, they should not ignore F-Zero any longer, especially because, you know, Mario Kart 8 has that F-Zero track, right? Does it not?
Yeah.
I have a feeling there's some
F-Zero tracks.
Yeah, see, there's some love for F-Zero somewhere in there, and those guys would get it right. They should bring it back.
So, hear me out.
Okay,
I have a
here.
pitch for the most insane F-Zero game.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I know this is getting a little off track.
No, please.
So, the director for Yakuza, I'm blanking on his name,
He was also the director for F-Zero GX, right?
and picture this. So, obviously, since F-Zero has kind of, let's say, been put on the back burner by Nintendo.
Nice.
Yes, put on ice. That's it's a lot colder than back burner.
It is not even near the stove right now.
No, not at all. It is in the
That's
pantry.
enough, guys. Be nice.
Captain Falcon has become much more discernible and recognizable as a character. He is a bounty hunter as much as he is a racer. He's a fighter. He's a scrapper. So imagine a Yakuza-style beat-em-up game set in either Mute City, Big Blue, wherever the hell they want to set it, directed by the director of Yakuza and F-Zero GX, that features kind of Forza or GTA-style thing where a mission is a race. But then there's also Yakuza-style story and beat-em-up stuff where you're playing as Captain Falcon.
Yes.
Dude, I'm pretty in on this because they did that with the Fist of the North Star, right? Basically, they just remade Yakuza as like a Fist of the North Star IP thing.
I think so. That sounds right.
Like, yeah, that's a pretty insane pitch, but dude, I'd play it. Especially because like, there's a really good taxi driving minigame in Yakuza 5, and they just bring that, but it's like F-Zero GX races in this one, please.
And I think you're right too, just to single out Captain Falcon, because dude's iconic, you know.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
because of Smash. You put him in a car, nobody cares. You got to be playing as him. You got to be punching stuff. If the next F-Zero game doesn't have him screaming Falcon Punch and knocking a dude into the ground, the game doesn't exist. That's they're not doing it any other way. I think that's a great idea.
Falcon's cool, but look, it's the racing. Is the racing.
But how many people are actually good at racing games that are that fast? 'Cause I'm sure.
I don't think it's that hard, man. I think
F-Zero GX is the Dark Souls of racing games.
Yeah, it's rough, but it's still. I think it's still fun, even if you're losing. Right?
Sure.
I don't think I just maybe just in my heart, I feel like we don't need like Mario Kart 8 was the best one they're ever going to make. That series is done. We're over it. Those games are too good now. What?
Listen. I don't know, man. I think Mario Kart 9, especially if they're bringing other Nintendo stuff, could go so far off the rails in like the best way possible.
I think
Oh my
right.
god.
I didn't even consider that.
We'll get back to Zelda in 1 second. I just want to throw one more thing out about Mario Kart 9. I think the reason because I know Nintendo Kart just writes itself. It's a great idea. I feel like because you reach a point at introducing all that extra stuff that might overwhelm people on a surface level. Because Smash doesn't outsell Mario Kart, right? It never has. And I know there are different genres, but Smash is more of on the surface, it's a fun party game that you can get really good at. Where Mario Kart, grandmas play Mario Kart. Anybody can play Mario Kart. So I do think you reach a point of maybe it's a bit too overwhelming by opening up to that point, but I think it seems like the next step for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Mario Kart, if they handle it right, it could still sell as well, just based off of the fact that if they title it Mario Kart, they put Mario in the trailer, they have everybody's favorites, Luigi, Yoshi, Peach, Daisy, whoever, and then it's kind of a marketing technique for us as the hardcore audience. They could even replace if we're gonna get into this later too, but if there's not a Fighters Pass 3 for Ultimate, they could totally use reveal trailers for Mario Kart
absolutely
as the new kind of hype CG cinematic reveals that get the internet going absolutely mental.
Yeah.
I think the thing I feel like the Smash character stuff is exciting because then you get to think about the move sets and all that. But if it's a racing game, you're still just gonna press R2 to accelerate.
Yeah,
I feel like that's not gonna be the Smash excitement stuff.
But I think the trailers still generate
for sure
a majority of the hype for that.
Yeah.
You'd imagine most characters, if this is the way they take this game, most of them would probably come with a track as well, and you could have track hazards maybe introduce that. But if we're singling it down to Mario Kart 9 for the holiday or Breath of the Wild 2, I would probably put my chips on Breath of the Wild 2 for this year.
Okay. So. That makes sense.
Yes, Christian, you made a tweet recently. I don't know if you want to talk about it. I did see it though.
I forget what the tweet was, but
the tweet was Mario Kart 9 is as far away as GTA 6.
Yes, that was the tweet. Yeah, it's for the same reasons, I think. It sells so well. It makes complete sense to do a new one, but Charlie, you're right for sure of using it to position hardware. I don't know if it's this hardware though, but if it is, I will not be surprised.
Yeah.
Circling back quickly to Breath of the Wild 2, how much of the game do you think we see? Because is this really going to be taking up that much time in a 40-minute show? What do we think?
I think we see a 3-minute trailer or something, and then maybe there's something at the treehouse, some gameplay demo. I don't know, but I could see this being a case that if it is coming out this year, it will be another thing, a special Zelda-focused direct later, I guess.
I really don't know what Nintendo could do. I mean, obviously, this is why I'm not making video games. But I think I really think that in order to kind of capture at least other hardcore Zelda fans, just thinking about kind of the only, at least not to me, because I think Breath of the Wild didn't really have. I didn't really think it was a problem. In fact, I liked the temples more than I like the temples more than, temples? No, what are they called? Shrines. I like the shrines. Yes. I like the shrines more than kind of those longer temples, but I do think that the divine beasts were a botched opportunity or idea. So I think what we need to see them do, nail the best of both worlds. That's not necessarily me saying that we need 120 shrines again and a bunch of different temples or dungeons or whatever, but I think we need to see better dungeons at the very least. And again, I don't really think that was conducive to the style of Breath of the Wild, just because you're given all the tools that you need at the very beginning, so there's no real point in a long dungeon teaching you all the different mechanics of this item when you have over 100 of them. but I think for me personally, what I want to see is a better, because I don't think the story was bad. I actually really liked a lot of the narrative beats, but I think a more well-rounded approach to narrative, I think, is like the main thing that was missing in Breath of the Wild. And obviously, you know, environmental storytelling, and I think kind of leaning into the memory aspect of it, like they did with Breath of the Wild, where they're putting different story beats at different parts of the map. It was a really good idea, and I'd love to see that fleshed out. But otherwise, I think building on the mechanics and the engine that we already had is really what's going to sell me on the game. I'm buying it regardless. I mean, a sequel to my favorite game of all time is a sequel to my favorite game of all time. If they put out Metroid 5 by in the with Discord on my phone doing this podcast.
I have a pitch for Breath of the Wild 2 that I really love, that I think could fit that vibe well enough, and it would make me very excited because I'm with you. Breath of the Wild is like one of my favorites of all time. It's definitely top 5, and I think there are very few issues with that game, but I think they have to appease more of the greater Zelda fan base. So go with me here. We bring back the idea or the concept on a very basic level of a dark world, but the way we do it is not at all what a dark world would actually be, where early in the game, Link falls beneath the castle, whatever, and we have 2 worlds to explore, basically, where overworld of Hyrule that we've seen already, that we've explored already, is slightly rebuilt now that the Calamity's gone, except in the overworld we're playing as Zelda with a new Sheikah Slate, new powers, similar locations, or it's the same map, but again, rebuilt, remixed, new puzzles to do, with her new tool set, going on her journey to become like the Trials of a Champion or whatever. And this whole time, Link is in the underground of Hyrule, going through these caves, using the hookshot, getting around, going through all these dungeons that have been lost for centuries, trying to destroy this mystery of Ganon. So like the dark world is just the underground, and that's the new stuff, game design wise, level design wise. But the overworld is the same overworld we all know and love, but we're looking at it through a new lens with Zelda and a new toolkit.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, yeah, the general idea of a dark world was kind of what I was expecting, but I think your ideas of like making Zelda be a means of kind of rediscovering familiar ground is a really great idea. I think even maybe making like the mechanics of climbing and stuff different would be really cool, because that it could make getting to certain parts of the map that might have been easier to get to early in the game, all of a sudden those are the things that you look forward to. Maybe like the 2 mountains that you're kind of encouraged to go to towards the beginning of the game. Maybe those are towards the end because they're higher up, they're harder to reach. But then places like the Death Mountain area is easier to get to because Zelda knows how to make all these potions and stuff.
Sure, yeah. And, you get on top of those 2 mountains, and before you just saw like the stables down below, but now there's a whole town, and there's puzzles to do down there, Zelda and side quests. But I think lately I've seen a lot of people worried about Breath of the Wild sequel reusing the same world, but I do think it would be a completely different experience if you just threw a new character in that world with new powers, and slightly rebuilt environments. But like, Omar, I don't know how you feel about the idea of Hyrule returning, but if they do take this sort of approach, do you think that would be enough to get you excited?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we were talking about Yakuza earlier, but I've always been a fan of developers reusing the stuff they've built and getting out games faster. Obviously, it's been 5 years since Breath of the Wild at this point, but I think it's, a great thing for development, like in a lot of ways, just getting these games out there like that. But can I give you my ideas for this thing?
Sure.
All right. I want this game to be fucked up. Yeah. Like, I want it to be annoying as hell. I think there should be all those durability weapon mechanics, right? I think you should do that with like every other piece of system or whatever. I don't know. And I think there should be roguelike elements where like every time you die, the world shapeshifts into something new. And yeah, make something crazy. Make it like 10 times more annoying than Majora's Mask. That's all I have. I think your ideas both sound really cool though.
Yeah.
But
I mean, go ahead, Charlie.
I mean, I could still see that working. I mean, even going off of the idea that Zelda is in the overworld and Link is underground, I could totally see the underground parts being the roguelike.
Sure, yeah.
oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Or even just, or even any kind of like mini games like that. I definitely think are like the other thing that, from the outside looking in, seem like they were missing. You know, like every other 3D Zelda game has had like a bunch of mini games where you can get heart containers, whatever, and obviously the shrines kind of replace that. But you know, now that the world is being built back up again, I feel like there's opportunity for stuff like that, or even the DLC with the combat trials. That could also be a roguelike kind of mode.
Sure, yeah. I definitely
I
think
would love that.
the
You go ahead.
underground's a common hope, I think, since this game was announced. But I really think like splitting it up between the two characters, it's gonna make everything feel fresh, and an underground where it's like, oh, surprise, this is where all those dungeons were for all this time. This is what we just didn't know they existed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where the classic dungeons are. They've been buried, and Link has to go through those. Maybe he doesn't have his Sheikah Slate anymore. Zelda has it, and that's the thing that has the new powers. And then Link's just going through this classic experience underground, trying to make it out of there alive, and he's getting items in every single dungeon underground. Like, I think because they're reusing the same overworld and it's been 5 years almost, like they could have just built a second world and just layered it beneath Hyrule. I don't know how game design works. I'm sure it's just like that, but I think something like that would make me potentially see this as being even better than Breath of the Wild, honestly.
Yeah.
So
I think the other thing that that's a pretty common criticism that I see leveled at Breath of the Wild from people who really didn't like it, is that, you know, maybe weapon durability isn't the problem, but they don't like the weapon durability. But I think changing and recontextualizing the early game, where a lot of the weapons they give you early on, oh god,
blessing.
God, man, sorry about that.
No worries.
A lot of the weapons that they give you early on in the game are super, super breakable.
Yeah.
So I could see a means of kind of fixing the pacing and that early game up a bit by maybe making the weapons still weak, but not having them be as durable. I think that's a small, simple change that would have a big impact on people who did not like the weapon durability system in the game. Because I loved it. I thought it encouraged you to kind of explore and develop new play styles and just mess around, which is really what a game like Breath of the Wild is all about, is messing around with the world systems and kind of mechanics. So having that opportunity and that encouragement and the reward being there for doing that is paramount.
Yeah, so I think we all have enough faith based off this conversation that this game won't just be more Breath of the Wild, you know, because they said it was originally DLC, but they just got so many ideas for it that, like, they couldn't stop. So I think because all these things sound realistic, Breath of the Wild 2 is going to have a great showing. I think the only unknown for all of us, and what I'm not sure on, is just the extent of it, but I hope it's a good amount. But moving on, Smash Bros. Is another major component, I would say, of Nintendo's 2021, because we got 2 more characters that should be hitting by the end of this year.
Check this out. It's going to take up 40 minutes.
Oh my god.
It's a repeat of 2018?
I think so.
Yeah.
So, there's a few questions, I think, surrounding Smash right now. Firstly, we can go through the whole yes or no thing, and then we can get into the who we're expecting. But are we thinking 1 or 2 characters at this show?
I'm expecting 2, hoping for 1.
Okay. Omar?
The last character we got was it Sephiroth?
Yes.
That was Pyra and Mithra.
Oh, nope, you're right.
Oh, and that was in
That
February?
was February, yeah. It was revealed in February. They were put out in March.
Okay. I'm thinking we will get one more reveal here, and then maybe I'm getting too crazy, but a September Direct will happen again, have the faith, and the last character will be there.
Or the Game Awards.
Sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think, Charlie, I'm with you where I'm expecting 2, but I hope it's 1. Because I like the way they can draw this out. And I think for me, if they show 1 or 2, I think that's also tied into, are we expecting a third fighter pass? Because if they show 2 here, I think they're probably going to do a third fighter pass. I don't know how you guys feel.
I feel like I've seen quotes recently from Sakurai saying definitely no third fighter pass, but maybe he always says that. I don't know. I know he always feels like he doesn't want to, or
he doesn't want to work on Smash, and then he just gets brought right back in.
Right. Like, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think based on what we've heard, he's been talking about like retiring early and all this stuff. And I think that Nintendo sees the value and the worth of the Fighters Pass. But I think if we keep getting more DLC characters, it will be with either a new director or with Sakurai in kind of like an executive producer hands-off position, so he can either retire, take or step back from Smash, or work on something else. But I don't think that we get a third Fighters Pass with Sakurai's direct involvement.
Sure.
But I forget which one of you said it, but you brought up an interesting point where the timing with E3 with 2 Smash reveals and then a September Direct where they announced another Fighters Pass could potentially be perfectly mirrored here. And a third Fighters Pass wouldn't surprise me. It would ultimately kind of disappoint me a little bit, but I'm always happy with more Smash, but I really want like a new Kid Icarus or just any new game from Sakurai in general that isn't Smash, even though I love Smash and play it competitively. I want to see him make more games.
Yeah, I it's hard too, because like a third fighter pass without Sakurai, I don't even know if that, like, I'm sure Nintendo would do it, but I feel like if Sakurai knew they were gonna do that, he probably wouldn't walk away at that point, just because of how his work ethic seems. But
it's like Kojima and Metal Gear Solid.
Exactly.
He has to step back in.
Yeah. So, in terms of the characters, let's say there's 2.
Okay.
Who are they? Because last time they did 2 at an E3, they did a JRPG character with the Dragon Quest hero, and they did Banjo-Kazooie, a Western platformer. And I could maybe see a world where we mirror this. So, I'll just throw out there, I think Crash Bandicoot is, in my heart, is a lock. I feel like that's just such an easy, obvious pick. It's a way to work around not working with PlayStation to get like a PlayStation icon in Smash. I know we have Cloud and Snake, but I think Crash is more on those lines. And the other one, I believed, I gave up, but I'm tired now, so I'm just gonna get back on the train. It's gonna be Sora, baby.
Oh, that's big.
What are you thinking, Omar?
I think we're gonna get Master Chief from the Halo games, or Fortnite, whatever your favorite is, and I think we will also get Japanese RPG representation from Akira Toriyama. We will get Goku from Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Yes.
And that's it, I think.
I think Master Chief and Crash are both like definitely like pretty solid predictions. I don't really know. Those are 2 characters that I would like guess pretty quickly too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Sakurai has said no to Goku, like specifically said no to Goku.
He has, but what if? I think the last time he said no.
So funny.
The last time he said no was before Dragon Ball Z Kakarot came out.
True. That's true.
Like,
sorry. Go ahead.
Charlie, would you be okay with a third fighter pass if it was like the batshit pass? If it was like Goku, Waluigi, Sakurai, like as the characters?
Right. Yeah.
Honestly, I think I'd be more disappointed. Like I don't know. I will not be sad or mad or disappointed if there's a third Fighters Pass.
Mm-hmm.
But Kid Icarus Uprising is one of my favorite games of all time, and I just want another one, man. It's so bad.
Sure, yeah.
But that said, I also want another Fighters Pass, and I also think that if we get one, that will kind of give Nintendo a bit of a pass for having a slightly less hype reveal for Smash. If that happens, I think I want to dream big, but I think one of them is going to be a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Which ultimately I don't mind. I think blow for blow, as far as characters that actual play style goes, all the Pokemon are pretty unique and fun in Smash. But that said, I think Crash and the Chief are both pretty solid, safe predictions. I'm just like, I'm super hyped for Halo Infinite, and I've just been imagining this kind of scene where like Link and Mario or whoever, any Smash character that they want to have, or maybe it's like Captain Falcon racing on the Halo ring, only for Master Chief to catch up with a warthog or something. And it's like I just so badly want to see Master Chief in there, if only for the music and the hype. But no, I think Sora, Master Chief, Crash, I think those are all like solid like secondary predictions after something like a Pokemon.
Sure.
I noticed you didn't say Goku in there.
I just do not expect Goku flat out. Like I do not like. Even if it's I think it's beyond a Ridley situation even with his likelihood.
Sure.
But man, the hype for Goku though,
It
you have
would
to
be
admit.
insane. It would be so funny
Like-
too.
Yeah.
Omar, you know I've been playing a lot of Kakarot recently. And
Yeah, I know.
I was thinking the other day, I was like, so what if they actually did it? Like, I know people are like, say, oh, Chief finishes the fight. I think that'd be an awesome thing to end on. I think Sakurai would be an awesome thing to end on. But Sakurai's swan song before he retires. Like, imagine if it's just Goku.
That'd be the funniest shit, and I think they have to do it. Because, like, I think Goku's more likely than Waluigi, let's be honest. Like,
I would say yeah. I don't think Waluigi's gonna get in.
No, I don't think any. As much as it pains me to say that Alucard won't get in, there's no assist trophies making it in.
Yeah. But, Omar,
Do you think we see an Echo? Oh,
go ahead.
do you guys think we see like an Echo Fighters Pass?
That'd be cool.
I could see that.
I think that'd be cool. Would you want to pay for it though?
Yes.
I feel like, I guess I don't really have that much experience with the Echo Fighters. They're like just reskins, right? Or just
They're kind of. It's so weird. Basically, it depends on the character. Like Ken is technically an Echo Fighter, but he has a lot of different properties on his moves. But then Daisy is literally the same character as Peach because they patched it and took all the differences out. So it's kind of a catch-all for characters that have comparable movesets.
Daisy was different, and then they changed her.
Yes.
That's crazy. Well, how different was she, if I may ask? Like, was it like just bigger jumps?
It was super minor. It was like I'm probably wrong about this, but I think it had something to do with her down B.
Okay.
And it was just like different damage or knockback stuff for her down B or her side B or like one of her aerials or something.
Interesting. I would probably pay for this. I think maybe I think they could add,
reduced price.
yeah, I think they should add Raiden in here. For Metal Gear Solid Snake replacement, right? That'd be great.
Say Liquid, but yeah. Also.
That makes sense. But also, Mrs. Game & Watch I think is a great suggestion on this document. Whoever put that in, that'd be fantastic.
Mrs. Pac-Man, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be great.
What?
What if they put in because like Namco works on Smash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Namco has games like Ridge Racer. I don't think they'll add a car, but they could add a Tekken character, maybe. Go with King of Fighters
Heihachi.
and Heihachi would be sick. Yeah.
Yeah, or Namco has. It's weird that Namco doesn't have more characters in Smash.
Mm-hmm.
I think Heihachi, the Prince from Katamari is my like number one, but I don't expect it.
Dude, they should do that. They should do that. I didn't even think of that. I'm sorry. I got excited.
No, you're good. No, that's what I'm hoping for. I gotta spread the word. I gotta evangelize this. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bandai Namco character, Koei Tecmo character, Ubisoft character, Activision character. I think those are safe bets.
Yeah, I think.
Wait, who put out Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Christian?
That would be Bandai Namco.
Oh!
It makes sense.
It just makes sense.
You know, maybe they don't do a third fighter pass, but they're like, we got one more surprise in the fighter pass. We got one bonus character, and it's Goku. But also in terms of one thing, because Sora is definitely my number one. I'll just throw this out there too. I think if you want to bring in Echoes to just inflate the number, trying to get close to 100, Kingdom Hearts canonically has like many versions of Sora. So,
dude, that is the season Echo Pass Kingdom Hearts edition. Like, just
you get
the 8 Soras, whatever.
Yeah, the Nobodies, the Heartlesses, the
Ventum Rex,
Vanitas.
Yeah.
You get bang for your buck with that. You get like the Koopalings when you add Sora to the game. So
yeah,
we touched on it briefly before, but Pokemon, I don't know what to expect from them because they normally do their own thing. I really don't know if they would show Legends without the Switch Pro being public, because I'm so excited for Legends, but man, that was rough when they showed that before. And I know that was a build that was a couple months old when they showed it, but still, like, I think you want to use that thing to sell the Switch Pro. So
I feel like historically, Pokemon is a big treehouse thing, right? Like, they just bring out, like, oh, hey, here are these games coming out this year, and they play a lot of it there.
Yeah, I think... do either of you, like, know, like, Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum that well?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Chris, I'm sure you'll know this then, like the underground stuff from that game. I think that could be like, because that's something that they haven't really shown off, and I could see that showing up either at the treehouse or kind of being like reworked into a grander online hub, because those were the first Pokemon games to have online play. So I could see some kind of trailer kind of showcasing, okay, we're continuing to do the faithful remake of this Pokemon game, but then we're also adding stuff in elements of this game that show that we're putting love and care into this as a remake.
Yeah.
Was the underground stuff some of that, like, platinum crazy twisty stuff? Or was that something else? Okay.
That was story related. The underground was like an online place where you could like mine for, I think, fossils and gems and stuff like that. It was sort of like Platinum or Diamond and Pearl's answer to Emerald and Ruby's like hidden bases. It was like,
yeah, it was kind of an expansion on that in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I could also see a trailer for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl showing off like I don't know if if either of you have played Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but something similar to the Delta episode.
Sure, yeah.
Or like kind of like teasing that in some way, like kind of just promising that the stuff for the people who like Platinum the most isn't just going to be gone, or some kind of like spin-off event with like Darkrai, Shaman,
I'm kind of preparing myself to just not see Legends here. I could, if the Switch Pro doesn't hit before E3, which again, don't think it's going to happen, but I could see that July event, the 10 or so minute breakdown video about the Switch Pro, like really go in and be like, this is what Pokemon Legends looks like on it, and using that to demo all the features, or something like a Breath of the Wild 2 even. I could see that too.
It feels weird that game's coming out like 2 months after Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
And I don't know when else they would show it, I guess. Like, maybe there's a big direct in December or something, or November after it, or that too much Pokemon in the news at that point, or it is like the Switch Pro thing in July.
Well, Pokemon, I mean the Pokemon company loves doing their own events.
Yeah.
a lot. Like I think before Sword and Shield we might have gotten like 3 or 4 between E3 and the final product.
Yeah.
So I could see them really blowing the lid off of it in like a September or August kind of event, and then, still in time for the marketing push for the release date.
Yeah, plus I think there's some outstanding announcements and like projects that the Pokemon company has that they haven't updated on, that I could see like an August maybe or July dedicated direct, like Pokemon Sleep we still have to hear about. We still got like the MOBA thing, Detective Pikachu 2. I think they said they were porting the original one to Switch at some point. So like, there's a lot, and I'm sure there's another spin-off that's coming this year that they haven't announced for iOS or something. So like, I think we could still see a Pokemon Direct. Moving on, though, I think this is one that I have little to no attachment to, but the usual suspects. We got Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3, and Splatoon 3.
Was that Sly offside about not having an attachment to any of these, or just Metroid Prime?
I personally have no experience with any of these games. I played Super Metroid a little bit, but that's it. These franchises I have no tie to, so... I know you guys do, though.
I'm the Bayonetta guy, I think. Are you the Metroid guy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Let's start with Metroid then. Charlie, what are you expecting out of Metroid?
If we get anything this year, it is not Metroid Prime 4. They restarted development even if they carry over a bunch of assets and stuff. I mean, we've seen... Obviously, Retro Studios seems like it... Like, we don't really know a lot about that, or I don't personally know a lot about that studio, so I don't know how many, like, internal teams they have, that kind of thing. But I don't think we get 4 this year. I think if we get anything, it's maybe a cinematic teaser or like kind of a reassurance thing, like the same way that we got a video reveal for the Switch's Pokemon games where it's a dude sitting at a desk. I could totally see someone at Rare sitting at a desk or like making some prime rib or something cheeky like that, and saying, "Hey, we're still working on Metroid Prime 4. Give us some more time. We'll show something off when we can." And then someone, it cuts back to whoever does the directs, and he's like, "Thank you for that update on Metroid Prime 4. Metroid fans, stay tuned." And then, they show like a 2D Metroid, which I could totally see happening. I think a 2D Metroid, back in the original Paper Mario leak, even there was a rumor about a 2D Metroid, and if Mercury Steam is making it again, the time is right. 2017, late 2017 was when the last 3DS Metroid game came out. So even if it is a remake, I could totally see that kind of hitting around the same time frame. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I don't really expect Metroid Prime 4. In any serious way, at least.
Yeah, this thing's not showing up until the Switch Pro is like 6 months old. Omar, what are you thinking about Prime?
Yeah, I think that game's not close yet. I'm expecting it in like 2023, to be honest. I don't know if that's cruel.
Oh god.
But I'm sorry. Just the development stuff, right? They had to hand it over. Just expecting it to be a while. I do expect that Metroid 2D thing to happen, though. I think they'll do that, and I'm excited about that. I'm not really too big on Metroid. I haven't really played enough of them, to be honest. But hopeful. I'd like them to put out that trilogy again. Do you think that's here, or is that later?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw this, but there was this tweet from someone who worked on the original trilogy. And he was basically like, yeah, I know it sounds easy. I know it sounds like it could be just totally copy-paste, but especially because it was rebuilt from the ground up with Wii Remote functionality, they would have to rebuild it again in HD for a new controller, for a new platform, for handheld and docked play. And that has me convinced that if it is real, it's probably going to be a stopgap between a 2D Metroid and Metroid Prime 4, but that's a pretty big if at this point. And I'm personally like, I'd be far more excited by a 2D Metroid. I think like Metroid Prime is the one that in that trilogy that everyone points to as the best, but I think it has some like pretty glaring issues, especially having played it for the first time in like 2020. I don't necessarily have as strong of an attachment as a lot of other people do, but I'm holding faith that Prime 4 will kind of buck those problems just because it's a newer game, so it will have some of those early 2000s era common issues.
Yeah.
Did you play? I'm sorry, Christian.
Go ahead.
Did you play Prime with the motion controls and the Wiimote when you played it?
And I love it. I loved it.
Would you like them to do that again with 4 and have that baked in?
It's complicated. I think the best way to do it would be kind of do motion controls and aiming the way Zelda did, where Splatoon, where you kind of you use sticks for bigger movements, and then for more precise stuff you use motion. where you can use kind of both.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
I could see that. And honestly, like, recently on my Switch, I played a couple Wii ports with some motion controls being, I mean, I don't think this was the Wii version, but No More Heroes 1 and Mario Galaxy. And I played a good amount of both of those games with motion controls. I will probably be playing Skyward Sword with motion controls as well, because they impressed me with the surprising precision using the Joy-Con with no IR sensor. So, like, if they could replicate that, I'm sure that'd be awesome. Metroid Prime Trilogy on Wii seems like the motion for that game sort of completely reinvigorated it the way RE4 was reinvigorated with motion controls. So, like, I'm sure there's plenty of people that would want Prime 4 to have that also. So
Definitely.
Just thinking, just have a thought. The Wii Remote and Nunchuck really were the best controllers ever. And my favorite way with the Joy-Cons is when they emulate that. And they do it so well. Definitely want to see more of that. I think, Charlie, were you mentioning being burned about Mario Galaxy 2 not being included in that collection?
Yeah, I think it's the best Mario game, so that's part of the reason why I'm so...
Did you hear that, Christian? He thinks it's the best Mario game. I think it's really, like, it's up there for sure. Christian, I think, is a hater of it.
No, I'm just saying, there's plenty of great games that are...
You should have seen his tier list, Charlie. It was fucked up.
Just DLC. There's plenty of them that are just great. That are just DLC.
But I feel like, Mario Galaxy 2 really uses that Wiimote in a way the first one doesn't, right? And what I'm dying for is for Nintendo just to put out, like, Wii ports that are just like, hey, just use the Joy-Cons like Wiimotes and forget about portable play. Like,
yeah, I don't know if I would like that.
Really?
Yeah, part of the reason why I think the Switch is so great is the portable play.
Sure.
And I think Nintendo abandoning the portability aspect of it is worse than the potential of them locking games to Switch Pro. Like, significantly worse. Because especially for, like, Switch Lite users, for example, I mean, it just feels like so antithetical, even to the name of the Switch. As much as I agree that, like, Nintendo, when they nail the motion controls, it's usually the best way to play that game.
Yeah.
I just do not see that being a viable option, especially because, I mean, obviously the data's a couple years old, but a pretty big amount of people only use their Switch in handheld.
Sure.
So
I just feel like, I think, like, some of those games being locked to the older systems is a bit of a bummer. And
totally, yeah.
It's just considering how Nintendo did not, like, want to, like, I believe the Galaxy stuff is running on, like, an emulator or something, or, like, they didn't, like, really fully remaster it. I guess I'm just trying to think of, like, ways that they could just do it cheaper. Sure. But it definitely would alienate, like, half of their install base, I guess, whoever has a Lite and just plays it portably.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how Skyward Sword tackles it, because I think that might give me a good sense of, like, what to expect from future Wii ports, because I know that was a Wii game that, like, really relied on it, so more so than even Galaxy. But Omar, for your heartbreaker right here, Bayonetta 3.
Heartbreakers? What?
Because it's not going to be there.
Oh, don't say that. No, I think you're right. It probably won't. I don't know what's the deal with this game, to be honest. I think Platinum usually makes games really fast. Like, they made Metal Gear Rising and I think Transformers Devastation in, like, under a year both. But, like, Bayonetta 3 they announced, like, 4 years ago, right? I don't know.
I think so.
And they haven't, like, shown anything? Or I think there was, like, maybe the director of it left mid-development. That's the one thing we know about it. But otherwise, it's been MIA. And I feel like there's a good chance it's, like, canceled, to be honest. But they haven't said that yet. But I don't know. I think if we do see it, it'll be at the Game Awards or something, and it'll come out on Valentine's Day in February. If it's
oh my god, that would be awesome. I'm looking at Hideki Kamiya's page on Wikipedia.
Yeah,
and the man is busy. They put. I mean, he directed Astral Chain. There's a game called World of Demons, which is that mobile game that they announced a little while back that kind of looks like Okami meets Bayonetta. That's coming out soon, and he's supervising that. And then he's also directing that Project GG game, the superhero looking one. And then he's probably also gonna end up directing Bayonetta 3. So like he and Platinum in general are pretty busy. Didn't they also make Nier?
Yeah, they were the Automata. They didn't work on Replicant, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
But,
they're also doing Babylon's Fall, which is coming back.
Sunday,
so
let's go. I also kind of expect them to be working on Astral Chain 2 somewhere. I know they're stacked, but there was like Astral Chain 2 the IP was co-owned by Platinum and Nintendo, but then at some point it changed to where now Nintendo wholly owns it. So I think they're probably making that, but I don't know. I bet Astral Chain 2 hits before Bayonetta 3. I just can't imagine seeing that game again, I guess.
I don't know if I agree with that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Bayonetta 3 is so far away. I don't know.
Because Kamiya's quote earlier this year was like, just forget about it, right? Until we show it again. Like,
he said, won't it be great when it shows up again if we just act like it's a surprise?
Yeah, so like I think there's not even going to be a whiff of this one this year. I'm sorry, but yeah.
So don't apologize to me. It's okay.
Charlie, what about Splatoon 3? I know it was announced this year. It's got slapped to the 2022 date. Do we get like another check-in on this? Do they even address it? Is this a September game? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we do. I mean, this is absolutely. I think that this game, that Splatoon 3 is probably going to come out. If it doesn't come out in the same slot it did in 27, if it doesn't come out in the same slot that Splatoon 2 came out in 2017, it'll probably come out earlier. That was like July, I think 21st, 2017. So I think we do get a trailer for it. I don't think it's going to have any like big information. I think it's just going to be, more stuff, maybe a reveal for like story setup, something like that, and then end with summer 2022.
Okay. Yeah. I know that the tweet said 2021, but they say that all the time. Like, remember, I think their 2017 one was like, oh, mostly stuff for 2017, and then they showed like Kirby and Yoshi and like a bunch of stuff.
Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, that was like 1 to 5 years out, So like, I think there's a chance that we can get a check in there, and
yeah. I also I'm pretty sure they specifically said like mostly 2021. So
yeah. So Omar, I know you're historied with Splatoon. It's a series that I have not dipped my toe in yet, but
I got the first game after I finished my SATs.
Ooh.
My mom drove me to Walmart and paid for it for me. She was like, "Here's the game. Congrats, son." It was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that first campaign is awesome. 2's great too. But yeah.
I know you were a little underwhelmed by the reveal trailer. So
over 3?
Yeah, so
yeah, because like it's a cool trailer, right? Like you thought maybe they were going crazy with it, like maybe they're doing a reinvention or something, but yeah, then it just looked like it was just Splatoon, right? It was just like a new one of those.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they mix it up, because that was my biggest problem with Splatoon 2 was like, okay, it's pretty much the same game again with some new like weapons and weapon classes, but the busted stuff from Splatoon 1 that was really fun is no longer in the game.
Yeah. Like I feel like Nintendo and Splatoon, I feel like they unnecessarily kill the life of that game too early, or they end the Splatfest, right? And they're still fun to play afterwards, but it's like I feel like the life of 2 kind of got cut short a little bit for me. And the 1 had the same issue too, and I just feel like the sequel almost feels unnecessary in a way. If they could have just gave more life to 2.
Sure.
But definitely excited for it. I think it'll probably be next year, right? Is that what they said?
They put 2022 on there.
Okay, and I don't think we probably won't see it here. I feel like, but I don't know. It was a weird early reveal.
Sure. Well, there are a few rumors going around in terms of things that are probably going to show up. We touched on Metroid 5, a 2D Metroid. There's one near and dear to my heart, Donkey Kong. It's his 40th birthday. I was going into this year expecting zilch in terms of Donkey Kong releases, but apparently the Mario Odyssey team is making a Donkey Kong. I hope...
There's also...
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, there was also a different competing recent rumor that Bandai Namco is working on a Donkey Kong Rhythm game that's a crossover with Taiko no Tatsujin.
Dude.
Oh my god. That
Oh
sounds
my
awesome.
god.
That sounds very cool.
That just makes so much sense.
I saw that on a Switch Force video where they kind of talked about how the running rumor is that this is the disappointing part. The running rumor is that is actually the DK game that was rumored, and the Mario Team one is like either doesn't exist or there's like something up with it. But the interesting parts of the rumor are that it's going to be a crossover. It's going to have some weird rhythm-based platforming stuff. It's going to have motion controls, and then it's going to have two different amiibo. One with the Taiko no Tatsujin characters, and then one with DK and some bongos.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say because like the drum is cool, but I feel like they have to do the bongo thing again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that is a very cool idea for a crossover, and I would probably play that. The Mario Odyssey one, if I'm being honest, seemed too good to be true.
Yeah.
DK64 is a game that is one of my favorites. I am aware of its problems, and I do not care. But like a 3D Donkey Kong game would be so incredible from them, and I really think it makes a lot of sense if Odyssey never got DLC. Maybe just saving the next mainline Mario game to have a new idea on it or something. But then once the rumors of a 2D Donkey Kong game came out, listen, I love Tropical Freeze, but I feel like they perfected 2D level design platforming in that game. So I started spiraling and thinking about a 2D like Metroidvania style Donkey Kong game.
Oh my god, that sounds awesome.
Because like Mario Odyssey is so great about exploration, and like the level craftsmanship they have in the Odyssey I think is so great. So like taking that level of skill and putting it in a 2D world where you're playing as like maybe Shovel Knight style, a bunch of different campaigns. Like there's a DK one, a Diddy one, down the line maybe we add like a King K. Rool one, and it's just this amazing dense 2D sort of open world Metroidvania DK game. I would lose my mind. And if it's just a internal Nintendo platformer 2D, I will be a little upset.
That would also, your idea of it being a Metroidvania would kind of give them some opportunities to play off the formula of DK64, where there were items that you could only pick up with certain characters.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, just Metroidvania progression wise, you could bring back the coconut gun, you know, you could get the instruments to take out obstacles or open up new paths like you could in DK64. Like a DK Metroidvania, if it's not a 3D DK game, it has to be a Metroidvania at this point, because I'm riding too much on DK getting a full-blown release once again. The crossover sounds cool though.
Check this out. It's a tale of revenge.
Okay.
And Donkey Kong has targets. He's got bounties. He kills Cranky Kong, and that's how he gets the pogo stick. I don't know. I'm working on it.
Donkey Souls.
Donkey Souls.
Yes.
Frankie Souls.
Yeah.
But in terms of the other rumors, though, like which ones have piqued your guys' interest? Like, I know there's a lot of stuff talking about Monolith Soft or, again, Metroid. Fire Emblem is being thrown around of maybe being due for another remake. Like, what sticks out to you the most?
I don't know if I've really been keeping track, to be honest. I'll hear whatever you guys have to say.
I mean, outside of the Switch Pro rumors, I think Metroid has stuck out to me the most. Obviously, you know, I'm probably the biggest Metroid fan that most people know, and probably also the only Metroid fan that most people know. And I'm trying to come to terms with that. But the fact of the matter is, like, of all of these, I think Metroid 5 and DK are probably the two that stick out to me. You know, the Mario Odyssey team hasn't put out a game in a long time. It totally makes sense for something new for DK, but also for a new DK game in general, because we haven't had one since Tropical Freeze, which was 2014, I believe.
Yep.
But then Metroid 5, on the other hand, I think there's more substantial things in terms of rumors that we've seen and leaks that have come true involving it. For example, the initial leak that leaked Paper Mario last year also said that we'd be getting a Metroid game.
Right.
And sure, maybe that's because they only saw the reveal trailer and there was a Metroid. There was, and Samus's hat. I almost said there was a Metroid helmet, and Samus's helmet was in that trailer at the very end. And so I think, unless that's what happened, I think that rumor kind of calling out that there will be a new Metroid that isn't Prime 4 makes sense.
Yeah.
But then also, the team that made the last Metroid release, which is Mercury's team, to my knowledge at least, hasn't really put anything out recently. And they also, the last Metroid game that they put out was Samus Returns back in 2017, and it'll have been almost 4 years, and especially if they're using a similar engine, and if it's a remake of Fusion maybe, it would not surprise me if we see that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Metroid 2D seems like it's in a very interesting place, and I mean, I did try Super Metroid, didn't love it, but I think that might be because that genre has just come so far since then that I appreciated it as being the bedrock, but I feel like if they were to remake another one...
SNES hater.
No, I love Chrono. Chrono's great.
Okay.
I think, like, if they showed a Metroid remake again, I would want to see them really push some new element on it. I'm not familiar if Samus Returns had some crazy new mechanics in it, but a Metroid 5, like, I'd want to be wowed by, because I really haven't been wowed by Metroid so far.
Yeah, that's where I think either Metroid 5 or a Fusion remake would really wow, because I think Fusion does a lot of really interesting experimentation with horror and tension and suspense that play really well for the GBA, but looking back, if those were able to be remade in a way that kind of ratchets up the tension and the horror, that would be incredible.
For sure, yeah.
Charlie, what kind of art style would you want? Do you want it to look like Samus Returns, or pixel art like Axiom Verge, or like UB art Rayman Legends kind of thing?
Okay, so
okay,
I don't know what it is, but I'm not a big fan of the Ubi art style. Like, I don't hate it. Like, I think it's
like
good for
flash
Rayman.
animation kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah, I don't like that animation style for Metroid, unless they go really in depth and make it really fucked up looking.
That'd be cool.
That said, I think the GBA Metroid games are stunning to this day in pretty much every sense of the word. And I think it'll be interesting to see Nintendo or whoever makes that game branch out and kind of experiment with making a AAA pixelated game. That said, I have a feeling it'll look like Metroid Samus Returns, which I don't hate. Like, I think that game still looked really good, but I think the visual style of Metroid is best when it's Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion, and Metroid Zero Mission.
Do you like Axiom Verge? Or have you
I
tried
do.
it?
I have this weird problem with Axiom Verge where every time I start it, I'll really enjoy it, and then whenever I get to a certain point, and this is my problem with Metroidvanias and JRPGs, where I'll enjoy the game, and then I'll get to a certain point where I get kind of stuck, or I need to grind, or I need to do like a significant amount of backtracking, and then either completely fall off or get distracted. Like, that's what happened. Like, that's why I haven't beaten pretty much any JRPG aside from like any Pokemon and Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, I have a similar issue with Metroidvania specifically. Honestly, I'll really enjoy them for a bit, and then I'll kind of just fall off. But
yeah, that happened to me with Hollow Knight. Like, I love Hollow Knight so much, and I put like 18 hours into that game, and then I think I had an exam or something, and then I tried to pick it up, and I was like, fuck, where was I? What's happening?
Yeah.
But,
do you think that's your Christian? The Silk Song?
no, they've actually said
Or
that they're
Harley
not going to
Quinn,
show up at E3.
Oh, really? I see.
So I'll be excited when they show it, but Hollow Knight's a great game. I just didn't finish it. So the last thing that's on my mind, because there's a lot we've talked about maybe fitting into 40 minutes, but
Yeah.
to me, I don't know if I'm alone here. I really love Fire Emblem.
I don't think. Hey, I like Fire Emblem.
I know you do. I just don't know if you're sick of it yet. But like,
no, I straight up. I think Three Houses is one of my favorite JRPGs. That game was really good.
Yeah,
but that's the only one I've really touched.
Three Houses is like straight up one of my favorite games I've ever played. Fire Emblem, I feel like was hitting pretty consistent releases for a while. Three Houses was 2019, so that was just about 2 years ago this summer. And
a lot of that was Koei Tecmo too, right? They helped the development.
Yeah, and like, I know there's rumors of like a Fire Emblem 3 remake, I think, or Genealogy: The Holy War or something like that.
That's what I've heard.
And I've also heard people throw around the Ike games, like the Radiant ones.
Oh yeah.
I
think those are what people have been asking for ports for.
Yeah. So, like, I came on board with Fates, so I'm more of a recent Fire Emblem fan. I would love to play the Ike games or anything in terms of a port, but if they really want to get me going, it would be a sequel to Three Houses that's picking up with like Edelgard's path of like hunting down those people that betrayed her. So like, oh man, is it too optimistic to hope for like a new Fire Emblem this year, or do you think we're just remake City?
Well, I
mean, they do that? Like, can you make a sequel to Three Houses that doesn't? Would it still respect the 3 lanes, like the 3 paths?
I mean, I feel like you could, but they would just have to be 3 campaigns again that just follow up each narrative.
Okay. And are there threads to follow for each of them?
I've only played through one of them, so...
Okay.
In the Edelgard one, absolutely. But...
Sure.
I mean, the development cycle for Fire Emblem games seems like it would probably be okay, reasonable to expect a new one soon. If not this year, then maybe the beginning of next year. I think because Three Houses was July 2018, right?
It's 2019.
2019. And then before that, Fates was 2016 or 17.
Fates was oh boy.
I want to say 2016.
I think Fates was 2016, and then there was a remake of Echoes of Shadows of Valentia.
Of Valentia, yeah. So I think now that Three Houses probably took longer, not only because they're adding all that new like Persona kind of stuff in there, but also because they added because they had to like shift to HD.
Yeah.
I think now that they have that kind of a lot of like the basic assets and engines and mechanics for what they need to do for that, I think especially if Koei Tecmo is helping develop it again, I think that they'll probably be able to pump out a Fire Emblem again pretty soon, if that developer is making a Fire Emblem and not something else.
Right. Yeah, because
sorry, you go ahead, Christian.
I was just gonna throw in there, Intelligent Systems is Fire Emblem alongside Koei Tecmo, right? So I don't know how involved they were with Paper Mario, but that was last year. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd even take just a Switch Pro update to make that game prettier, because I love it, but there's some screenshots I have of that game that do not look great. So,
which one, Fates? Oh, you mean Three Houses?
Yeah, I like. Sure. Give me a reason to play another campaign of that game, like, please. I would absolutely love a patch or something for the Switch Pro, but
I do not know much about Genealogy. Is that what that one is called? But I believe there's one. Was that the one that people say like has the same like kind of like school systems as Three Houses or something?
Yeah,
or like
people cite that as being like the prototype for Three Houses.
Yeah, see, I would love just like a different setup for Three Houses with just that again, but just something new story wise. I think that'd be super cool.
Sure.
And I'd like to play it. And this year, I'd like to play it this year.
Yeah, man. If we get a new Fire Emblem this year, I'll be very happy.
That would be nice. If we can't get Zelda, I wouldn't mind a Fire Emblem this year.
Yeah.
But hopefully we get Zelda.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get to our wild predictions, is there anything else we want to shout out of just potentials? I know people always say that the second coming of Kirby is right around the corner. Like, I don't know if there's anything...
Is that a threat?
Yeah, he's gonna eat you up, dude.
No.
He's gonna become a Twitch streamer.
I'm not big on Kirby, but I would love to be one day wowed by Kirby. Like, oh my god, what is this? Like some kind of 3D platformer reinvention or something. I don't know. I've never been the biggest Kirby guy. But.
Yeah. Charlie, you a Kirby fan?
I like some of like the NES and SNES Kirby games. I think they're some of the games that have aged the best from that era. Mm-hmm. That said, I think I don't know. I mean, Star Allies wasn't terribly compelling. Like, I think the kind of just like core of Kirby is going to be hard to make compelling for a lot of people, I guess. Especially if those people are more interested in stuff like Donkey Kong or Mario or Metroid, where the platforming is more intense rather than the kind of like exploration aspect of it. Like, I think maybe ratcheting up the puzzle side of things is probably going to be their best way or best bet.
Did you know that Wii 1 Return to Dreamland had a dev cycle of like 10 years?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was on and off development for like, I guess it got canceled once and they brought it back. I don't know, it was kind of crazy.
Damn.
They're the same people that make Kirby make Kid Icarus, right? That's HAL?
I think so.
Let me check that.
Okay.
Because I don't think HAL made Kid Icarus.
Okay, I see.
I know HAL worked on Smash Melee, I know.
Yeah, I mean, that was Sakurai Studio, right? Or is it still even?
Sakurai now is Sora Limited.
I see.
But
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably a wild one, but I would like a remaster of that Kid Icarus game.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
I only played a few hours of it, Charlie, so I don't have the love you have for it. But I did really enjoy it, but my hands kind of got cramped on the 3DS. But I bet I would I got really into rail shooters like Sin and Punishment this year. That I would love to play that Kid Icarus game. It seems pretty similar. There's a lot of like those rail shooter with the intense action. I would love something on that front on the Switch.
Kid Icarus, the only Kid Icarus game I ever played, I think, was on the OG Game Boy.
Sure.
A little bit of that one. But yeah, it seems like it's got a cool world, you know. And I know people have been begging for a port of that game forever, so that'd be a feel-good announcement, I think. I
feel like it'd be a nice thing to let Sakurai have.
Yeah.
Like, throw him a bone.
Yeah. If there's nothing else, though, I think we got some locked and loaded, wild out there predictions we can run through. So, Omar, would you like to go first?
Sure. Persona 4, Persona 5, Persona 6. I don't think I'm kind of lying about Persona 6, but I think it's time. I know it's not really time, but I think it's crazy that the Persona games are on Switch.
Yeah.
And I think we inch closer to that reality every day. And I think maybe we'll get 4 Golden and 5 Royal on the Switch here. I don't know if that's a crazy prediction, but I think it's kind of out there considering how hard that series can be to get on other platforms.
Yeah. I mean, plus you got SMT5 this year, so I think that also makes it another hurdle to get.
We didn't talk about that, but I'm pretty excited about that game coming out this year. I hope to see that here at this presentation.
Yeah, sure. Charlie, I know you've made it clear your stance on JRPGs today, but SMT5, any?
Yeah, no, I expect that totally. I think it totally makes sense for SMT5 to be shown off, maybe even get a launch date for sometime this year. Like, that would not shock me at all. I expected it at the last Direct even, and was very surprised that it didn't show up. I mean, that game was announced on like January 15th, 2017. Like, that game has been in development for over 4 years, and we know that they have a basic structure for it. I mean, it's not the first game in the series.
Yeah.
So it would be very shocking if there was no SMT5 news.
Because I was so doubtful of Mario Kart 9, I'll throw out my prediction that's real out there and wild. Because Nintendo saw the absolute fervor and love behind the concept, just the idea of Star Fox Grand Prix a couple years ago. They're like, you know what? Let's make that game. And then it's going to be announced at the E3, and it's coming out next year.
But why not? Why isn't it F-Zero?
Because
it could have F-Zero characters.
I know, they're like the same universe, but like, why not just call it F-Zero?
Because I think Star
Fox
Fox
is bigger?
carries way more even if it's not a huge fan base, Star Fox is a way bigger name, I think, than F-Zero. And also you have furry anthropomorphic animals you can use to sell the game, so...
I don't think that Star Fox Zero sold that great.
Neither did the Wii U.
All right.
But, Charlie, what do you got for a wild prediction?
All right, so picture this. We got your Smash mainstays in what looks like the Nintendog's living room stage, right? They're fighting, they're doing the normal thing, and you hear a bang, and then you hear another one, and everything starts shaking. Then you hear what sounds like a rolling, and somebody in the background goes na 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 na, and then the prince just comes by and rolls everybody up. I know I said this earlier, but god damn it, I need it. I need it so bad to just for the prince from Katamari to be added to Smash. That would be such a stupidly niche reveal. That would just get me to pop off so hard. But I feel like other than that, most of my like what I would consider to be, I mean, like aside from like a new Kid Icarus game, I feel like most of my batshit predictions are like things that are rumored that people want to do, aside from like a Galaxy 3, which is never happening. Like, I mean, we talked about Metroid 5, we talked about GBA games on Nintendo Switch Online, we talked about Mario Kart 9, we talked about F-Zero. So I feel like that, even the Chief for Smash, like I think those things aside that we've already talked about, like the Prince from Katamari, New Kid Icarus, and GBA games on Switch Online are like my like crazy off the wall, like never gonna happen pie in the sky kind of things.
Sure. Well, I mean, honestly, I think both of yours are on the spectrum of being a potentiality.
Oh, no.
You know?
Oh no, what's about to happen?
No, I was just gonna say, because truly, I'm living in an alternate world if I think Nintendo shows a Star Fox game this year.
You want us to get crazier, Christian? You want us to get crazier?
If you got one locked and loaded, by all means.
All right. I'm going to say it again. I really feel like F-Zero could happen. They keep trying to... Nintendo went to EA in like 2012 being like, hey, do you think Criterion wants to make F-Zero? And they said no. And then in apparently they tried to get Criterion to make an F-Zero game at one point.
That's insane.
And then in the Wii U era, Nintendo Land has F-Zero shoutouts. Then Mario Kart, of course, has the F-Zero stuff. I just feel like there's always someone there trying to make it happen, and one day someone's going to say yes, and we might finally see the fruits of their labor this year.
Okay.
Listen, man, I am hoping and praying, but I don't expect anything.
I'm going crazy here. Crazy prediction. I think you're right, though, but imagine.
Yeah, it would be cool. I mean, just... Again, you want to throw out a showpiece for a Switch Pro. I think if it's Metroid Prime 4, Breath of the Wild 2, and then, like you said earlier, an F-Zero, for sure. But
especially if it was a Mario Kart team, that game's beautiful. Yeah. Could you imagine?
Yeah, that'd be real good. But well, if there's anything left to be said, I don't know if there is, because I think we've covered extensively the options that could be shown off at Nintendo's E3 Direct next week. I somehow got more excited for it in talking to both of you today.
Yeah, same.
Awesome.
This was fantastic. I had a great time. So first off, thank you both for joining. Charlie, where can everybody find you? Where should they be looking for you in terms of E3 coverage?
All right, so you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at CHAS_MKE. That's Chaz Milwaukee. You'll probably find me on my Twitch channel and Twitter doing a lot of reaction stuff to everything. I'm writing over at Twinfinite. I'm also freelancing at Android Central. And you can find work that I do there, but I'm not exactly sure how my stuff is gonna my work for those sites is gonna interact with E3, if at all. So for every conference that I can, I will be reacting live on my Twitch channel. And that's, again, twitch.tv/CHAS_MKE. That's Chaz Milwaukee. And then Trying to think what else. I guess stay tuned for some PAX panel related news.
Ooh, very exciting.
Oh.
Well, thank you once again. It was awesome hearing your insight into Nintendo. Glad to have you back on the channel. And
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, dude.
yeah, of course. You're welcome back anytime, you know?
Hell yeah.
Nintendo does a lot of directs every year, so we can absolutely do
True.
predictions and reactions for sure. Omar, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, I have a Twitter and a Twitch channel. Both are called Ohms the Chef. I'm a big fan of the Twitch channel. I'm playing Kingdom Hearts right now. I usually play old games. Please check it out. It's cool. Yeah, thank you.
Of course, yeah. It's a fantastic time every time
Appreciate it.
there's a chat popping off for sure.
Sorry to interrupt, Omar. How do you spell your @ Because I'm trying to find it.
Sure, it's OMS THECHEF.
Okay. I figured someone else would have the same question. So
Yeah. Oh, appreciate it.
Fair enough. If you want to follow me on anything, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok @Chun2D2, as well as here, youtube.com/joyclicks is where you're watching the video podcast here for Nintendo predictions. This should be going up Wednesday, June 9th, so if anything broke overnight, sorry. But if you want to see more E3 predictions, you can stay tuned for some Xbox Bethesda ones. I'm assuming Jack Martin and I will be discussing some Square Enix stuff, Marvel's Avengers, of course. Get hyped. And yeah, any other E3 stuff, stay tuned at JoyClicks on Twitter or here on the channel. Kevin and I will be reacting to most of the conferences and doing some recaps. But thank you all for joining us.
Wait, Christian, I got one more prediction for you.
Oh, please.
You ready for this? You ready for this?
Yes.
It's a huge one. It's really massive. I don't
Okay.
know if you're ready for it.
Okay.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4.
I didn't play the third one, but I would be interested in a fourth.
Okay, cool.
I absolutely would be down.
All right, neat.
So, yeah, thanks again, guys. This was great, and hopefully Nintendo's E3 lives up to this. I think it can get close, so we'll see. But
They just need to put Goku in Smash and make F-Zero, and then it's basically as good as we needed it to be.
yeah, screw Breath of the Wild 2, right?
Yeah, whatever.
So, thanks again, guys.
Damn.